Welcome to Canadian Footy Fan Channel, content for fans, by fans. I am your host, Chris Talks Footy, and today I am bringing you Canadian Footy Assembly, episode number 6, 2023 predictions. But I'm not doing it alone. Once again, I'm joined by my excellent guests. I'm joined by Juan and Paul this evening. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Good. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. As always, their links are in the description below, so make sure you give them all a follow, both on Twitter as well as Juan has his Twitch, and he has a little bit of a surprise to tell us a little bit later on before we wrap up today with a little project he's working on. But a reminder to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and give your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. Let's kick this off, gentlemen. Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with a little bit of a sad note, and that is the passing of Pele. So Pele unfortunately passed away after a long battle with cancer on December the 23rd at the age of 82. Obviously, Pele is most known for as winning the 3 World Cups that he has won, as well as being the record goal scorer for a long time before both Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi broke his record. Condolences to his family, his friends, and the supporters all around the world. Pele is a GOAT to many people, the greatest of all time, including myself. But I think for everybody, he should be in everybody's top 5 for sure. A bit of a sad day that was. I remember I'll come to you first, Paul. Do you have any memories of Pele? And what was your reaction to his passing? Obviously, it wasn't a surprise. He had been struggling or battling cancer and was in hospital for a little bit. But do you have any memories or anything like that about Pele?
I think overall, I heard you mention, I want to say this first. So you mentioned about the GOATs. This conversation, I keep seeing it on Twitter. I have friends in WhatsApp groups. It's like the
Start
GOAT.
not.
Yeah, and I think it's very unfair, right, to
Yeah.
really have that conversation because there's different eras and there's different times. The truth of the matter is, a lot of the style, a lot of the way players play now, that was, Pele had a lot to do with it. I'm not saying only, but he had a lot to do with the moves that you actually see right now. When he was playing, yes, we didn't have, UEFA. You didn't have all these big championship league teams that you actually do have now. So I know he played mostly for Santos. I know he played in North America for a bit. So I think in his era, World Cup was the stage, right?
Yeah.
World Cup was the stage. It wasn't like now. And to be honest, it's more monetized than anything else. So for me, him winning the World Cups, that was for me was like, wow, Pele is like, he is awesome. And even him coming to North America to play, that was huge too, right? For him trying to, be the ambassador to bring, football across or soccer across the globe was very impressive. But there was also a lot of things that he did outside of, the soccer, which I think also made him. I think him and Muhammad Ali at the time were one of the two, advocates for so many different other areas outside of sports to kind of bring people together. And I think that's something that I definitely would also remember him for. But World Cups, definitely just the moves. I can't remember. I was young, so I can't remember all I think the last World Cup, I'm trying to remember the ages now. But you see highlights and stuff. But just him, his presence, his humility, I think all those things really was memory. And when he passed away, it was obviously very sad. I mean, I knew there was a few years ago that he was sick and they thought he had passed away and then he made it. But yeah, very influential in the way that the game is played on a global scale right now.
You know what I found out the other day? That his mother is still alive.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah. She's, I think, about 106.
Wow.
And,
wow.
Yeah. So that had my mind
crazy.
And like, imagine being 106 and outliving your child. That is just
that is crazy.
Yeah. But shout out to Pele. I'm too young to even like see any of his games.
Yeah. Same here.
I mean, I'm
Like,
older.
no,
I
I
didn't see
don't.
his last.
It's
And I'm
hard.
still. I didn't even see his last World Cup, 1970. Yeah.
But like the beauty of it is that like it was folklore, right? Even if people were around that time, you know, TVs weren't as popular back in the day. We didn't have the same kind of access as we do now to football. So it was nice to see like when he was starting to get sick, people were posting highlights of his, and it showed that he was a pioneer, right? He was the guy who did a lot of these moves our favorite players does. He did that first, right? And it's nice to see that like him becoming him creating such a big imprint in the game left so many people speechless, you know, and like we didn't really see him play at the time. You know, you could see like Neymar, even Mbappe, Ronaldo, a lot of those guys were impacted by him. Again, like it's nice to see him even come to North America, like what Paul said, you know, he's trying to revolutionize the sport here. It was perfect because again, like I said, we didn't have the technology back in the day to see him play. It's nice for him to have travel, like for him and the Santos guys to travel with the group. And in terms of like the GOAT debates, I think there's a good moment in time to have those kind of conversations, but I think people are just too enrolled in it. Like they're too involved where they don't appreciate the moment in time. Because let's say like if Pele was playing around this time, right? If he was competing with Messi and Ronaldo, if Pele did something great, people would automatically shame it because they're either a fan of the other person. Right? I think like I think with this kind of death, I think it's sad, but I think it's time to reflect, right? It's time to say, okay, it's sad to see a legend go, but I'm hoping that we see other players differently now, right? I think it's time to stop comparing.
Yeah,
you know,
we gotta appreciate the players. Like I'll be honest, as somebody who has I wouldn't say my entire life because he hasn't been playing my entire life, but I'm a Manchester United fan. So obviously Cristiano Ronaldo has a special place in my heart. And I'll be honest, it did not allow me to enjoy Messi play at all, especially when they were both. One was at Barca, one was at Real Madrid. It made it impossible for me to appreciate anything Messi did.
Right.
And I'm glad. One thing with Ronaldo doing what he did this year, it allowed me to drop that and enjoy Messi at this World Cup. So I agree. I would encourage everybody to, yes, you may have your favorite, but that doesn't mean you need to have negative views or negative thoughts towards any of the others. For example, I've come to the conclusion that I think in this generation, Messi has been more successful and has probably been the better player. But Ronaldo will always, for me, be a preferred. I'll always prefer Ronaldo. But there's some people that, for example, will prefer Thierry Henry, and Thierry Henry is their favorite player. But that doesn't mean Thierry Henry is the GOAT. That just means they just loved how Thierry Henry played and what he had to offer. I'll be honest, maybe not so much recently, but like back in the day when Twitter was starting off all the Ronaldo versus Messi wars that I got involved with, looking back at it, it was such a waste of time, to be honest.
It's just like really tribalism, right?
It is.
It's like you have 1 point and you don't want to be proven wrong at that point. So you'll go at no matter what stakes to prove your point. And I think we just get lost in that, right? Like if you take a look at Ronaldo and Messi, they're old now. Right. Sooner or later, they're going to retire. And I think we're going to look back and we're going to be like, damn, I can't believe we missed all these games because we were just trying to compare one to the other. But rest in peace, Pele. You know,
rest in peace.
Big impact to the game.
Yeah, man.
And he's one of the iconic pioneers.
Yeah, he's an icon. I don't think he'll ever be forgotten. That's for sure. He's somebody that I think everybody will look back and be mesmerized by. Just like you were saying, on Twitter, somebody had posted the video of comparing the skills of the players today, and then Pele doing them. Obviously, Pele was doing it like on a cow patch, the cow field, with a ball that was like terrible. But he was doing like the Cruyff turn, the Ronaldinho flick. Like he was doing it all on awful fields with an awful ball.
With no Yeah, and remember, there was no yellow cards or red cards.
Yeah, man. And back then, like, people would just kick each other, man.
Oh,
like,
my
you just if Pele was dribbling down the wing, you just give him one, like, and then the ref would just blow a foul. And today it would be a red card. And back then it was, oh, it's just a foul. So big up to Pele. Condolences to, like I said earlier, to his family and friends and to everybody around the world. He'll definitely be missed and is definitely a legend of the game and will be. But as we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, there was some new news about Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo to the legendary club that is Al Nassr. I don't know if, well, it was highly rumored and denied by both Piers Morgan, Ronaldo's sidekick, and Ronaldo himself. But he ends up going to Al Nassr, earning, I think it's between 175 to 200 million a year for the next 10 years, making him the highest paid athlete ever. I believe his playing contract is only for the next 2 seasons. Yes. And then beyond that, it's more of a figurehead kind of role. But the key point is that Al Nassr will, and the government of Saudi Arabia, will own his image rights. So even if he were to move on, Ronaldo won't be able to move on to another club with that in place because no one's going to bring in Ronaldo without his image rights. So basically, he's going to Al Nassr to retire. I'm going to come to you, Paul. What was your reaction to this big move, blockbuster move?
So it's interesting that you said that, because it almost seemed like Piers Morgan was kind of setting it up for them. So even when I heard it, I was just like, yeah, it's going to happen because they have the money, right? The only other place I could have seen him going was MLS, and MLS doesn't have the money to actually pay him close to what
they don't have that.
No. Europe, his image, the issue with Europe is that after Man U, his image got tainted. Yeah, people might have taken a chance, but I don't think the club that he probably would have wanted to go, I don't think anybody was willing to take that risk just based on what happened at Man U. No. So in that regard, it didn't necessarily surprise me, especially when I started hearing the rumors about the money. Think about it. No matter what Saudi league is, if somebody's paying you between 175 and 200 mil, just 1 year, come on.
Yeah. He's by far the highest paid athlete in the world. It's not even close. It's like double the next person.
Yeah, you're going to pay. And then outside of that, whatever other commercial or other endorsements or things that he's going to get, that's easy for them. So I'm not surprised. I'll be honest with you, it really didn't surprise me. I think he was looking. I think that's what delayed. He was looking I think his agent was looking to see, hey, you know what? Is somebody else going to take the chance? And I knew no one else would.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that people that are fans of Ronaldo were disappointed by the move.
Yeah.
And again, it's like a lot of the legends do move on, right? Beckham going to MLS. You know, there was like we mentioned earlier, Pele going to North America. I think Johan Cruyff went to America as well.
Yeah.
So it was a gradual build where you build your brand somewhere else outside of Europe. But I think the main issue we had was that like he had such an abrupt like stop at Man United. Yeah. Where it seemed like if you wanted to go somewhere, it had to be somewhere at a higher level than Man United, right? Like he was creating all these tantrums on the bench. He didn't enjoy his playing minutes. So it seemed like he had offers out inside Europe, the Champions League quality, right? Yeah. And for him to go to Al Nassr after, for me, it's disappointing. Like it seemed like you had a lot of opportunities, maybe Bayern declined.
Yeah,
Napoli declined.
Everybody declined, right?
Sporting declined. And to me, that was the telling point. And they declined him in the summer. So I knew at that point he was going to struggle because for Sporting, it would make so much sense for him to go back there, the Champions League, as well as he's going back to his boyhood club. It just made so much sense. So to me, I knew he was in trouble. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I don't know. It's just he had so much to say as he was leaving Manchester United. As a Manchester United fan, you go with the expectation that he knows that something's available for him that's better, and there wasn't anything that, well, maybe financially better, but on a playing level, there wasn't anything available to him.
Do you guys think he regrets that interview?
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he cares. Yeah, no, he doesn't care.
But the thing is, like, I know he doesn't care about what I think. And that's just how Cristiano Ronaldo is. He just cares about himself and those that are close to him. If you're not one of those people, you're essentially like his enemy. Like he dropped his agent, for example, because his agent disagreed with him doing the Piers Morgan interview, and his agent disagreed, and then he dropped his agent. And his agent missed out on a lot of money because he would have earned a portion of this Al Nassr deal.
Right.
Even if it was 1%, that 1% of $1 billion is, of 2 billion is a lot of money. So, I don't know. I honestly thought the only place he could have gone to is this man's team over here, and that's Chelsea, who's in a lot of turmoil. CR7 could have come and saved you, but you decided to look the other way, and he's off to Al Nassr.
No, we're already in too much turmoil. That would have just been chaos. But I don't know if you guys heard the caveat to his deal that if Newcastle makes Championship League, that he'll there's a possibility they'll loan him because it's the same owners that they'll loan him to Newcastle to play in Championship League. So
I think Eddie Howe declined that. I think that was part of the clause.
It
was rumored, but now
it could be. But like, does that make sense to bring him in just for that? Like, and what they're building at Newcastle, I think they're doing a good job building whatever they not whatever they're building. They're building to be a Champions League level team on a consistent basis. They're building to replace Tottenham in the top 6. If we're being honest. Yeah. And I think they're doing a good job in doing that. So I don't know if they'll bring in Ronaldo. It might be an option, but I don't know if that's a smart idea, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Ronaldo to Al Nassr, it is what it is for the next. It will be interesting when he's promoting the World Cup in Saudi Arabia when Portugal and Spain do their own bid for 2030 as well.
Yeah, that's weird. It's so weird.
You're gonna have Ronaldo promoting a World Cup in another country, not his home world. That's gonna be weird. People are gonna laugh at that. But if Ronaldo wants to make himself look like a clown, like he has this entire year, to be honest, that's up to him. And I guess good luck to him. He's a poor Abubakar got cut because of Ronaldo. Maybe Abubakar is on his way to MLS.
I have a question for you guys. Yeah. Do you guys think the Saudi Arabian League is going to be turning out to MLS, like how Beckham went to Galaxy and changed things? Or will this be a move like how Oscar went to the Chinese Super League and it failed miserably? Because it seemed like a lot of these foreign leagues, including our own, like the MLS, they were going for these aging superstars so people will get interested. I'm very curious on how the Saudi league is going to turn out.
I wonder if it's going to turn out to. I wonder if it's going to turn out to be more like China. But the difference is that the Saudi Arabian money, like it is real money. Like it's not like the Chinese money where they said they're going to pay X and then they paid Y.
They paid right.
No, but the problem is the lifestyle. So, for example, like I read an article yesterday that actually Ronaldo and his girlfriend aren't actually allowed to live with each other in Saudi Arabia because you have to be married, and then they made the exception. And I'm like lifestyle wise, how many players are going to go there, and how many exceptions are they going to allow
for 200 mil?
Well, so I don't know if Saudi Arabia will become like MLS. If it does, it might be they have the money, but it's just I don't know if. Like I don't know if the mass amount of players, and it's not the top players. Like the thing with MLS is, yes, you got the top players, but the basement increased as well. So the bottom end players increased. Like in Saudi Arabia, they've also got to do that. So it's not just the players they're giving these exceptions to. It's the lesser players that they're going to be bringing in. Obviously, Saudi Arabia wants to increase their own level of play, and Saudi Arabia obviously impressed in the World Cup, especially with their victory over Argentina. But it's a process, right? Like as we experienced in MLS, it's not going to be quick, no matter how much money they have. And like I said, I wonder if it will be more like the Chinese Super League, or maybe somewhere in the middle between the Chinese Super League and MLS. I don't know, but all I know is they've got the money. They've got the money. I think that's everything on Ronaldo. Obviously, good luck to him. He'll be banging goals in the in the Asian Champions League. I wonder if he's going to count that towards his Champions League record.
You'll count the goals in practice.
Shameless. Shameless. He's playing some team in like Kazakhstan and bangs like 5 goals, and he's counting it towards his Champions League total. But let's move on to our next segment, which is Canadian soccer news and transfers. So the first bit of news we have is the CF Montreal announced the hiring of their new head coach, former DC United head coach Hernan Losada, who is a Argentinian who played most of his career in Belgium. So he is very fluent in French as well as Spanish and Portuguese and Italian, I believe. So he's multilingual. A bit of a surprise because at DC United he did not have the best of times. But a bit of a surprise hiring, but he does speak French, so I wonder if that was priority number one. I know there was a lot of rumors of perhaps maybe Bobby Smyrniotis getting the opportunity. Apparently, Bobby Smyrniotis declined being interviewed, which was a bit interesting, to be honest. Perhaps he felt it wasn't the right fit, especially with the ownership at CF Montreal with Joey Saputo and his having meddling in how the club operates. But yeah, I'll come to you first, Paul. What was your reaction to this?
Yeah, I didn't know at first that was going to be my question. That was my question all along. Are they going to look to hire somebody who speaks French, prioritize that over just the best? I'm not saying that someone who speaks French is not the best coach, but I know Bobby was heavily rumored, which would have been a nice transition for him into MLS, I personally believe. But I agree with you. I think he probably saw what Wilfred Nancy had to go through and probably thought, and I think that's, I don't know behind the scenes. I kept hearing different rumors. I heard it was he wanted to stay, but I guess the money and just how the operation was running, he didn't want to stay there anymore. Well, he was leaving because of that. Initially, he wanted to stay. So there was a lot of things behind the scenes, which it kind of sucks, though, because the thing is, with Montreal losing a few players, you still wanted at least to keep some continuity with your coach, right? I think that would have been a lot easier to kind of, even if you brought in new players, at least you have a system in place. So when I heard that they hired former DC coach, I was to be honest, I was surprised, and I don't know if it's the best hire. Who am I? I don't think so on paper, just looking based on his former DC club record. So for me, I don't think it is a good, but what do I know?
Yeah, honestly, it felt a little lackluster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Especially that Montreal went to the playoffs last year. You know, they were defensively solid. This felt like a step back, and that's not a good thing, right? It didn't feel like a rebuild hire. Again, like Paul said, I'm not too familiar with Losada. I'm only knowing him from the DC United days, but
and DC United was a gong show under him, to be honest. It's a reason why Wayne Rooney went in and seeming like I don't even know how to rate Wayne Rooney as a manager, but he came in there and he seemed to settle whatever was going on there.
Yeah, it felt like he hired a yes man. Again, I don't know about Hernan like that. Maybe he's not that kind of guy, but it seemed like he just picked a low key guy that would be able to agree to him. Yes, it is positive that he does speak French. I think Montreal. I like how Montreal keeps trying to keep that culture, that French culture. I just felt like it was the wrong decision, in my opinion. If it doesn't feel like a young hiring coach that's willing to bring in a new system, a new culture, it felt very boring. This hire.
I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't expecting Hernan Losada to come in, but we'll see how he does. Maybe he can turn it around, both his career and CF Montreal, especially because they're going through a bit of a rebuild. But they've got a lot to do this off season, similar to Toronto FC. But obviously, Toronto FC aren't bringing in a new coach. But both. Actually, all the teams in Canada, MLS wise, have a lot of work to do. And we'll discuss how we think that's going to how that's going to go towards the season a little bit later in our predictions. Our next bit of news is Ronan Krat to Werder Bremen on loan with the obligation to buy if certain expectations are met. And we'll come to our York United specialist here in Juan. Give us the inside details regarding this move.
Hey, listen, Ronan had a great season with us last year. He was on and off, but when he was on the field, he was electric, right? I don't think he had the same kind of stats as he had in Germany, but right. This is a young kid that's willing to trial for a big club. He had the previous experience with the it was like a former club in Germany. I'm trying to remember the name, but he had experience there already. So there you go, SSV Ulm. So he had 19 appearances with them under there with their U19 side, scoring 4, and that's where we picked him up from. So it seems like he already knows how the culture is in Germany. So he'll be there until July 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So he will be there for the end of the season. I think he'll be playing there for the U23 side. So he won't be for the first team.
Yeah, but he'll be playing in the German 4th division, I believe.
Yeah, 4th division, yeah.
So it'll be good, though, because if the teams like him and they have the patience to keep him, then it'll be a big signing for them, and it'll be a big bonus fee for us.
Yeah, so, I think the expectation is that it'll be made permanent. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, then he'll come back to York United. So I guess as the York United management were portraying that it is a deal with the player in mind, where if it doesn't work out, there is the fail-safe of him coming back to York United, which is excellent.
Right in the middle of the season. Yeah.
Well, it's not ideal, but it better that than being on the bench in the German 4th division, I think. So at least that opportunity is there for him to come back. And hopefully not. Hopefully it works out for him. Bring in York United a little bit of a fee, and he can go on from there. And maybe in a couple of years' time, maybe 2 seasons' time, we'll see him playing for the Werder Bremen first team.
Yeah, we want that bread, man. We want that money.
We want that cash.
We love Ronan, but man, it'd be nice to have that cash influx.
Yeah, but that's what the Canadian Premier League is here to do, right? I think it's here to provide a platform for players that don't have a platform, or a place for players to come in and end their careers. Canadian players. So, I think it's fulfilling its duty, and we'll probably get into our predictions. But I think York United's model is more of the develop and sell than the win now mentality of a Forge. But me speaking on behalf of York United fans, when I'm a Forge fan, is probably not the best. But that's what I see.
It already happened this morning. We're good.
It already happened this morning in the Twitter. It was a scathing article of York United. And I was just eating popcorn while reacting to Juan's reaction.
Just watching the whole place burn.
But that's not the only move we had in the Canadian Premier League. Another big move that was announced recently was Marco Bustos is leaving Pacific United. He is rumored to be joining Swedish club IFK Värnamo. Bustos did have a trial with TFC, but nothing happened there. I'll be honest, as a TFC fan, I simply think it is because he would have just been a very squad depth player.
Yeah.
And if whatever time we give him, it's time taken away from the likes of Jayden Nelson and possibly even Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. So does that necessarily make sense? And is that what Marco Bustos is wanting to do at this point in his career, is be a depth player? Right. So I think this is, if he goes to IFK Värnamo in Sweden. Sweden is a decent league. Like Bustos, if we're being realistic now, he doesn't have Canadian men's national team on his horizon. It's about getting the most out of his career at this point, I think, anyways. Unless you guys disagree and see him somehow making the Canadian men's national team anytime soon, but making the most out of his career and maybe going to Sweden, and then maybe he can make another move from there. If he impresses, maybe make a move to like a mid-table Belgian team or a mid-table Dutch team. Good for him. Do you guys have anything to add regarding Marco Bustos?
Yeah, I think it was the right decision for him not to join TFC.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's what, 29, 30 now?
Yeah.
Him being on the bench.
No,
26. He's 26. He's a little bit younger. He's 26.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, he's young.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
So
he feels like I feel like he's been around.
He's been around.
Yeah,
he was a highly rated prospect coming out of Vancouver for a long time, and then it just didn't work out for him. And then first was with Valor, right? He was with Valor in 2019, I believe, and then he kicked off his career again. But yeah, he's too good for the Canadian Premier League, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But he's just not quite good enough for the MLS. So finding somewhere in between, I think, is ideal for him.
I think maybe because the thing is too, he's 26. He's a bit too old to be playing MLS Next Pro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
If he wanted to be in MLS, he would have to go to America, try out there. It'd be difficult, right? So going back abroad, going back to Europe would be the smartest move, right? It's probably like he wants more playing time, he wants more exposure, so it's great. Honestly, it's a great move for him if he does go to Sweden. Hopefully he'll get more playing minutes there, and if he kills it, like absolutely dominates, maybe he'll get Can M&T, but I won't picture him at all right now.
It's being realistic. All the best to Marco Bustos. He was, like I said, one of the best players in the Canadian Premier League. He really helped the league grow by just playing in it and being an exciting player to watch. So I wish him all the best with his journey to Europe, wherever he goes, and he gets plenty of game time and is given an opportunity to shine. And who knows what the future holds. But yes, I think being 26, being a depth squad player for an MLS team is probably not ideal. If a couple of years' time, when he's 30, 31, 32, and he wants to wind down his career back home, then maybe. But right now, make the most out of your career and go try and push it high as you can.
And the thing is, too, is that the people that are in his position, they're much more younger and they have a higher caliber of they're playing in higher leagues. If we talk about Tejan here, he'd be playing on the right wing. So I can picture him being maybe fourth or fifth in that spot. But it'll be very difficult.
Hey, but it's good. It's good and it just shows how the Canadian game has grown. Because if we're being honest, Bustos going and playing, if he was starting for IFK Varnamo back in the day, he'd be a starter for the Canadian men's national team, 100%.
Yeah,
so it just shows how our level has gone up with regards to with regards to our quality and the depth that we have. But on the ball, he has an outside chance of making it. But it's good to have depth, 100%. The fact that we have Bustos as somebody who is off the radar, that's amazing. It's shown how we used to have 10 players in the squad who were unattached FC. We were unattached FC. It was bad. It was bad. We joke about it now, but back in the day, it was you would look at it and you'd see nearly half the players were missing a club next to their name, and it would be what the heck is going on? We laugh about it now, but back in the day, it was a real problem.
And the funny thing is too, it's back in the day, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
It's
not like in the 80s or the 90s. It was the mid 2010s. That was a good one.
Crazy time, man.
But Juan, you brought up Tejan Buchanan, and he's another player that we need to discuss about. Although he hasn't moved yet, there's a lot of rumors going around that he's moving to Syria, with links to both Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and Napoli, so the big four in Syria. I'm going to come to you, Paul. What is your reaction to this? How excited are you, and do you have a preferred choice for Tejan Buchanan?
I don't know if he should. If he does get a move, I think it probably should be where he goes back on loan. But I don't think he should move this year to Syria. I think he needs to settle more in the Belgian league. He played today, and he wasn't that great. I think the rating was 5.9.
Yeah.
Today wasn't really good. I think he needs to get more comfortable and really grow and mature before he moves. And I'll be honest, I don't know if his game suits Serie A in comparison to, not to say that I said a team in Prem League will pick him up, but I think his game more suits Prem League than actually Serie A. Serie A is slow, move, tactical. Prem is go fast up and down, and that's more Tejan to me. That's more Tejan's style. Yeah. So I mean, it will be good if he goes to Serie A. I think it's a step up from where he is now, right? So that's awesome. And maybe it will eventually get him to the Prem League. And I know the argument is the Prem League better than Serie A and back and forth. So I'm not even here to argue. They're different styles, and I guess each player has a profile of which league suits them better. And for me, I think he'll suit Prem. But if it's a step, if he's thinking, and him and his agent is thinking long term in terms of, you know what, we want to do one step up and then we'll look again, then I think it would be a good move for him, just so that he gets more exposure and get some, good coaches, better coaches to kind of help to mold and develop him.
Yeah, I think with Tejan, with every step he's taken, so when he went from college to MLS, it's a decent jump. He was successful. Then from MLS to the Belgian league and playing in the Champions League was a big step. He was able to do that. So as a challenge of maybe not relying so much on his pace, but being more technically aware and more tactically aware, or not technically aware, being more tactically aware and improving his technical side will help him. He needs to go to a club where he will fit in. So maybe somewhere like, I think Inter Milan to me makes the most sense because he would be able to go there as a wing back. Obviously, as you mentioned, Paul, today, I wouldn't put too much stock in today's performance because they have a new coach playing a little bit of a different position. So I would.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true, right? Yeah, that's true.
Who's their new coach again? Is it Scott? No,
I forgot the name of the new coach. I forgot the name. But you know what? That's a good point that you actually made too. I wonder if Inter, with all the turmoil that they're having, though, if Inter would be a good
the
financial. Pardon?
Parker. Yes.
Oh, okay. With all the financial stuff that Inter is having right now, would Inter be the best?
Well, I think it's more like if they were to sell Dumfries, and if they were to sell Dumfries, it would be for a sizable amount. I don't know who's going to buy Dumfries because they're going to want 60 million, 70 million for him.
Chelsea's been rumored to buy everyone right now. So.
Chelsea will need all the help.
Hey, they need a Reece James replacement.
No, well, Dumfries is on the list because of Reece James. So I wouldn't. Yeah, there was a rumor that they're looking. I don't even know anymore. But if we do, then that would be a good replacement.
Yeah,
Tejan would be a good replacement for sure.
Or like if he's going to become a winger, a place like Napoli where the expectations aren't so high. AC Milan, I don't know if they have. Like they play more of a 4-3-3 and they have like their players set. So I don't know where he would play at AC Milan right away. And then Juventus has been a bit of a gong show recently. I guess me talking as a Manchester United fan, talking about big clubs being a bit of a gong show. But I don't like he goes there, like what happens to him. So for me, Inter Milan or Napoli make the most sense. How about you, Juan? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think at this moment in time, I think Tejan will have to decide, would he want to play as a right winger where he doesn't have as much defensive responsibility, or as a right wing back? Because if he wants to play as a right wing back, Italy would be perfect for him. Yeah. Like a lot of the coaches there play 5 at the back. A lot of them are defensive suited first. And I think Napoli would be nice. It'll be fitting with him. And then they've been flying this year. So exactly. Juventus, I can't really picture them. I mean, ideally on paper,
Juventus not nice. Inter that has the issues. Yeah, that has the money issues.
I think it's all Italian clubs. If we're being realistic, all this like Serie A financially is struggling. That's why the Serie A teams were pushing heavy for the Super League.
The Super League, yes.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. If Tejan wants to play as a right winger, maybe like what Paul said, I can picture him maybe in like the championship, right?
I think Bundesliga, because the Bundesliga is very physical, very pace-oriented league.
Yes,
where everybody plays intense and high lines. Like, I think Buchanan, if he were to go to like an RB Leipzig, to be like a right winger and just focus on getting in behind, like he get the most out of himself. But like, is he gonna develop then?
That's the question.
That's the thing. So I guess we'll wait and see with regards to Tajon Buchanan, but it's exciting to see him already being rumored to move after only being in Bruges for I can't talk today for such a short time.
Yeah, I think that World Cup performance really helped him, because he was like, even though he didn't have that finishing product, he was arguably one of the most impressive, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he were to go to like Leipzig, is a great feeder team, because they would keep him, develop him for a couple of years, and then move him on. But like, if they're going to move him on to somebody like,
good point, Andrew,
Inter Milan, maybe going there right away may make more sense. It all just depends on what he's looking to do. Is he looking to start right away, or is he looking to be more of a squad player to start off with and then earn his position? Like Juan touched on, does he want to be a right wing back, or does he want to be a right winger? But we know the doors are open to him and he has options. It's not like he's linked to Juventus and that's the only club interested in him. And it's go to Juventus or stay at Bruges. And if you stay at Bruges, what you gonna do? If you go to Juventus, are you even gonna play there? Where are you gonna play there? So it's nice to see a Canadian player be rumored to be joining so many clubs. Another player who's rumored to be joining, I would say so many different clubs, but he seems to have narrowed his focus really on the Premier League, and that's Jonathan David, who has come out himself to say that his next move is going to be to the Premier League, which I was quite shocked to see him say that, to be honest. Because normally you keep your doors open, because you never know. Maybe a Bayern Munich comes in for you, but who knows, man? That could just be what he says now, and then everybody forgets about it, and then at the beginning of next season or whatever, he moves on to a team outside the Premier League. But I'll come to you, Juan, first. What do you think about Jonathan David? Do you think he'll move in January? Do you think this is more of a summertime transfer? And where do you see him going?
I think it's interesting that he's being linked all of a sudden to Premier League, because there was a huge striker that played in red that just left all of a sudden. Maybe Man United will get him. Maybe Chelsea will get him. But
maybe Newcastle. Who knows?
Yeah. I think David will fit well, I'll be honest, in Man United, because David plays very well with the two striker system. And I know Bruno Fernandes is not necessarily a striker, but he plays so high up in the pitch. He's sort of like a second striker.
Yeah.
It's just, I think the pressure on him will be a tad bit difficult when he gets to the Premier League because of his goal scoring records. People are going to take a look at it. They're going to expect a lot of things in the beginning of the season. I'm excited for him, though. He is a very technical player. He likes to play the ball on his feet, doesn't really do running behind a lot. He is a kind of guy that can collect, receive, play the ball. Very, very intelligent. I think it's either between Chelsea, Man United, and perhaps maybe Arsenal, because now that Gabi Jesus is gone as well, that he might be able to slot them in there, but I don't know how their financial status is right now.
Yeah.
I think it might be one of the top 6 teams, though, except for maybe Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I don't. Well, like Liverpool, they just signed Nunez, so I don't think they're gonna. And Man City, I don't think they've got Alvarez and Haaland, so they won't be in it.
Yeah.
I think
top 4 then.
Chelsea, who knows what? Like Chelsea could do a madness and sign like 3 strikers. Like who knows? Like I don't know. Like they just splashing the cash anywhere and everywhere that they can. So who knows? They definitely, like, you can't say he won't go to Chelsea. Manchester United, it would have to be in the summer. Manchester United right now is broke right now. We have no money. That's why we're bringing Weghorst in on loan. We're not in the market to be buying anyone right now. Newcastle, like I said, like they've got the money. They could bring him in. I think it's really between those three teams, to be honest. I don't think anybody. Spurs won't come in for him.
I really hope he doesn't go to Spurs.
They kind of got enough forwards there, and I think they got to kind of like, I don't know.
He's gonna put him as a wing back.
Yeah, Conte. Or even if he plays him up front, he'll be playing wing back. Like,
a disaster.
Like if it was outside the Premier League, I think Bayern Munich definitely is a shout. They don't have like an out-and-out striker right now. They play a very fluid team up front, and that's how David thrives. Is he's obviously more of a traditional striker, but in a system that's very fluid. I think that's where you get the best out of him. Arsenal. They kind of rumored right now to Mudryk, as well as the Portuguese gentleman playing for Atletico Madrid. Oh, his name escapes me.
Felix.
João Felix. Yes. João Felix. They rumored to bringing him on loan with the option to buy in the summer. He would work at Arsenal, I think. It's just, will they go in for him? I'm not too sure.
I think if they want to go for that title, they have to go spend during the January transfer window.
Yeah.
Because they can't compete with Man City's depth, and Man City's slowly creeping up on them.
Yeah.
So I think I could see and I'm not because I'm a Chelsea fan, to be honest with you, but I can more see him going Chelsea just because they don't. Aubameyang was supposed to be a Band-Aid, bringing him in. And now with Potter there now, they're thinking of actually, there's been talks that he might actually even go back out on loan and maybe even get rid. So I think they're looking to revamp. And Potter has been said that he actually really likes Jonathan David's play. And in a system, he could work with Havertz, and Havertz playing the fault like up. Yeah, I could see him definitely working and giving Havertz more opportunity to even score himself, just because, as you said, Juan, how technically sound Jonathan David is. And you could see at Lille, like sometimes you're like, just give him the ball. Like you see how sound he is, how he runs back, goes for, like, I really like him as a striker, how well he plays, because a lot of strikers just, and you look at his build initially, and you would think he'll just be that stand-up striker that would just wait for the ball. But you see how he's developed and how he's grown, definitely in becoming a striker. So we'll see. I can understand why he would want to go to Premier League as well. I mean, I think for him, what I've noticed is he likes comfort. So he's in France. He doesn't want to go too far. England is right there. I think that's for him. I think going to Germany, unless it's Bayern, where he's comfortable with playing with
Alfonso.
I can't see him. But I agree. I think if the only team I could see him going to is Bayern, and I think they would do. But I think they would do well, man. I think he would do well there too.
Yeah.
Do you guys think his stock decreased after the World Cup because he didn't have the greatest performance?
I think it stayed the same, but it was a massive opportunity. I'll be honest, I don't think Jonathan David should move in January. I think he should stay at Lille. And I know there's certain fans don't want to hear that in the Canadian men's national team fan base, but I think what is best for Jonathan David is to stay where he is right now. Continue working on playing as a lone number 9. This is his first season doing so. If he had an excellent World Cup, I think he could have moved in the January, but after the World Cup, I don't know. Like, it hurt his opportunity to move right away. I will say that, but I don't think he's going to be moving. He's not going to be playing for Lille next season. There's 100% chance of that. He is going to be moving this summer. We can say the same about Tajon Buchanan. I think he for sure also will be moving in the summer as well. But I think if anybody's moving in January, I think Tajon Buchanan may have a better chance of moving in January, to be honest.
And I think it's better to move in the summer because you have more stability, right? You have definitive answers, right?
Especially if he's got as somebody like when Tajon Buchanan goes to a team, I don't think the expectation is going to be there for him to be the number one, like the guy. When Jonathan David, for the 50 million or whatever he's going to be, there's going to be that expectation.
There's a lot of pressure.
He's going to be the goal scorer. So if he goes in the summer, he has a preseason, there's more of a chance that he'll be more successful than it would be if he was thrown into a team in January. If you were to go to Chelsea right now, Chelsea is in turmoil. If you were to come to Manchester United right now, Manchester United, yes, they're doing okay, but they're still trying to figure things out.
I agree.
If he goes to Arsenal, okay, well, Arsenal's playing well and they're successful, but if he goes to Arsenal and all of a sudden Arsenal's level drops after he moves there, he's going to be the scapegoat. So I think for him, the best thing is to stay for now.
But I want to say, I don't know if it necessarily, and I agree with you, I don't know if stock necessarily dropped, because I think, yes, if you look at him as a striker that you just wanted to see goals scored, then yes, you could say that in that regards. But my thing is, he played a different role for Canada, and whether you want to blame Herdman or not for the role that he played, but in the role that he played where he had to end up sometimes playing the midfield, like a midfield role, coming back and doing there was other things that he was doing quite well, except for the Croatia game. He was getting bullied, but I mean, yes, it's a good experience, but I think there were other intangibles that he was doing that wasn't necessarily noticed, because yes, as a striker, you just expect strikers score goals, and I think that's where probably his stock either would have dropped a bit because of the expectation to score goals. But yeah, I think summer is the best for him. He should really stay with Fonseca and kind of work out with Lille for the season and do well. He's back to scoring goals. This is the second game where he scored again, right? So
yeah. In the Canadian striker derby, going up against Troyes and Ugbo today. And Ugbo, well, he's a conversation for another day, but he's having a bit of a tough time, along with Kyle Larin. They could, while we're on talking about transfers, both of them could use a move right now. Kyle Larin and Ugbo could use a move right now, especially Ugbo. I mean, not especially Ugbo, especially Larin. While Bruges were playing two up top, he was struggling to find minutes, and Scott Parker plays a 4-3-3/4-2-3-1. So I don't know where
he's not getting any time.
He's not. Larin needs to find a move ASAP. If he has to take a wage cut, he's gonna have to take a wage cut. I know for him, his move this past summer with regards to wages were very important to him. He wanted to be paid, I think, 2.5 million a season, and I think Bruges offered him the most, like 2.2. I know money is important. Obviously you got to do what's best for you financially, but
your bread
you got to make your bread. But if you want to be a part of the Canadian men's national team going forward, you got to be performing for your club and playing minutes. So he's somebody who definitely needs a move. Maybe even if it's just a loan for now, and then in the summer things get figured out. But he definitely needs a change in scenery, which is unfortunate because he seems to need them quite frequently, except for that time in Besiktas for a couple of years where he seemed settled. And then he left because they weren't offering him enough money. And it seems like we've kind of gotten back to the old Kyle Larin, where after moving to Europe, it was kind of like, oh, it's not working out. What are we going to do? Where's he going to find minutes? We've got to send him out on loan. And then when he goes on loan, how's he going to perform? Unfortunately, we seem to have gone back to that. But hopefully he can figure it out soon.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need him to have more minutes, especially now we have the Nations League and Gold Cup coming up. Because John Herman really appreciates first-time minutes or first-team minutes.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't think he's not getting that at Bruges. Not with them going to the one up top. He's not going to get that unless he plays on the wing. But then maybe but then you got the likes of Tejan Buchanan, who used to be a wing back, and now is he going to play fullback or is he going to play wing? If he plays wing, well, then that's one less spot for Kyle Larin. And I'll be honest, I don't even know if Kyle Larin can be an effective winger anymore. That's not his game. No,
not at all.
Okay, so moving on to our final segment and the most anticipated segment of the evening, and that is our Canada Soccer 2023 predictions, where we're going to go through some questions and we're going to make predictions based on the Canadian national team, the Canadian women's national team, the Canadian Premier League, as well as the MLS Canadian teams, as well as we'll end it off with a spicy hot take just involving Canada Soccer at the end from each of us. So the first question, and make sure you give us your answers in the comment section below and in the live chat. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. Jordan says he came here at the perfect time. Yes, you did, Jordan. Yes, you did. So let us know your answers to the following questions. But we'll start off with the first question. And that is the Canadian men's national team prediction for the National League, the Nations League and the Gold Cup. So how do we think Canada will perform in these competitions and where do you think we'll finish? So I'll come to you, Juan. Where do you think we'll finish up in the Gold Cup and the Nations League?
I'm really hoping we do well. I think the last time we played in the Gold Cup, we went to the semifinals, which was a huge boost for us. I'm kind of hoping for everybody else's downfall, to be honest with you. I think it's our time to go to a final because now you see a lot of these horrible stories from the States coming from like Jamaica, Mexico, about how they're trying to transition their program. And it seems like we're the only ones that are stable in terms of actually on the field. I can't say anything about the CSA, but
well, we're stable on the field for now until until they decide to protest again.
no, I think we're good
maybe.
No, but did they finalize? I don't think they finalized it. Did they finalize?
We haven't finalized the deal. No, like us. No, we haven't finalized the deal. No, from what I heard, is it's just crossing the T's and dotting the I's right now. For the most part, it's been sorted with. They're going to be getting more than the average, but less than the United States players do, which is fair. The United States players, compared to the rest of the world, get paid an exorbitant amount of the prize money. But it does sound like a deal. It should be done soon, hopefully.
Right.
But who knows? It's the Canadian Soccer Association. Who knows? Who knows? They may just give the players the middle finger and tell them to shove it for all we know. Like, who knows?
Who knows? They might have done that already.
Yeah, Mabontas might have spent the money already. Who knows?
But yeah, I'm expecting good things to come out of the Nations League. I think they're very disappointed about the results in the World Cup, despite of what kind of competition they're facing. And I think they're going to be definitely hungry. So,
Hey, at least we know if John Herdman were to leave, I know who the CSA would hire as his replacement.
Oh, don't say it now. You mean Carlo Ancelotti, right?
No, not Carlo.
That is hilarious. That is funny.
But we'll bring
what if we hire Claudio Reyna as the coach?
No. He'll be the technical director.
Yeah.
Reyna is the technical director and Berhalter is the head coach.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
So what are you saying, Juan? Are you saying semifinals? Are you saying win it all? Are you saying final?
I'll say it minimum semifinal again.
Minimum semifinal.
I'll go a little safe around this time, but I think we got a lot of expectations. I think has the format stayed the same as the last one, or have they decreased the amount of teams?
The Gold Cup?
Yeah, it should be the same, right?
Same. Yeah, it should be the same.
It should be the same, I believe. Yeah. We'll have the group stage, and then it's weird how they do it, where you can like call up players for the group stage and then call up other players for the knockouts. It's kind of weird how they do that, but yeah, I think it'll be the same. I think quarters, semis, and then final.
Yeah, because arguably we're top 4 nation in the region, so
yeah, 100%.
Everything goes to plan. Semifinals.
Yeah. How about you? Paul, what are you saying?
Yeah, so I was kind of trying. Initially, I was with Andrew, and I was saying finals. But my only concern is how the grouping works because now of FIFA ranking, we've actually dropped, right? So I think we're now behind Costa Rica. I think we're now I think we're 4th.
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so. So now we're now 4th. I don't know how far we are from Panama. So then that could lead up to us reaching, meeting maybe a Mexico or a US in the semis.
Yeah.
Instead of the finals. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be conservative as one and say semifinals for nations, as well as Gold Cup. Now the only thing is Gold Cup is summertime, right? So we'll get our
Gold Cup is at an awkward time because it's actually at the end of the summer. So when the European sides are doing their preseason, so it's kind of and MLS continues through Gold Cup. So to answer Jordan's question, it'll be as usual. MLS will just keep going on during Gold Cup. It always has, from I'm aware, which is very weird.
Very weird
because MLS is a CONCACAF, like it's a CONCACAF league. Like, take a break, but
yeah,
it's CONCACAF. It's
CONCACAF, so you can't really argue. So for me, I'm gonna be conservative and say semi because I don't know which squad. Like if some Canadian players are going to new teams, new teams might not want them to play in the Gold Cup, right?
Like if Jonathan David goes to a new team, you can say goodbye to him at the Gold Cup. Same with Tejan, you can say goodbye to him to the Gold Cup. Fonzie will be there. Yes. And like the veteran players will be there, like Victoria will be there. Boy, like if they're still part of the program, they will all be there. They'll tell their clubs to shove it, if I assume. Same with Atiba. But it's the players that are new that have transferred to European clubs. They're not going to be there. I'll be shocked.
Yeah, we might not even see Stakio because there's not any rumors now, but the way he's being projected, I can picture him going to a new club in the summer as well.
Yeah, Davies missed Davies and David both missed the last Gold Cup. Yeah, it's a problem with where it is in the calendar. It's unfortunate, but it's not just a problem for Canada. I guess it evens itself out because it's equal across all the CONCACAF teams.
Right.
I actually think it helps the lesser CONCACAF teams that don't have as many players in Europe.
Yeah.
So it kind of levels the playing field. But in my opinion, I think semifinal is acceptable, but only if we lose to Mexico and the US. Right. In my opinion, that's the only acceptable defeat going into both of these tournaments, whether that's in the semifinal or in the final. If we lose to one of those two teams, as long as it's a good game and we've played well and it's close and we haven't been thrashed, anything besides that is unacceptable in my opinion. And I hope we win one of these two tournaments. That's our goal. Our goal should be we're going to win the Gold Cup and the Nations League. That's the mentality I'm going with. But if we lose to the US or Mexico in the semifinals or the finals, I can't be that upset about it.
Will this be Atiba's last international tournament?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
I believe Nations League, it depends when Nation Leagues finishes. I don't know if that finishes maybe in September. I don't know when the Nations League final is. I should have looked it up and be prepared for this podcast. But this year will be Atiba's last. I think the same could be said about Victoria. Boyan being a goalkeeper, like it might be his last year being a starter. But if he wants to be the third choice veteran keeper, I don't see why we would argue against that. I rather have an experienced person who's good in the locker room. Yes, maybe you want to give a kid an opportunity to come in, but when you have two players that are in their prime, like bringing a young kid, like they're not going to really have an opportunity to get any minutes anyways. But yeah, it'll be the last year for a couple of veteran players. Hoylett also maybe.
Yeah.
Wotherspoon maybe.
Really, Wotherspoon? You think so? Eh?
He's 32.
So, yeah, he is.
He is kind of, once you get to that age, it's like,
it's difficult.
Will they stick around for like? I can imagine that if we play in the, I know, going a bit off topic, but if we are going to be in the
Copa
America, it might be enticing for some players to try and hang on, but I don't know. At some point, we have to move on and look at 2026. To me, 2023 was like the farewell tour for some players, and then we move on.
Yeah. Right.
And even if we go to Copa America with a little bit more unexperienced team, I think that would be a good opportunity for those players to learn to adapt to those sorts of conditions. Moving on to our next question, and that is the Canadian women's national team and predicting where they will finish off in the World Cup. I'll start us off and I'll say my expectation is semi-final minimum. I know it's a bit of a high expectation, but after their performance in the Olympics, I'm gonna. It's time as Canadians we start getting demanding of our national teams and having expectations, and it's no longer, oh, we'll see and how it goes, and if we do well, we'll all celebrate. If we don't do so well, we'll still all celebrate. Like I've got some expectations on this team. How about you, Paul?
Yeah, so I'm also going to say semifinals, and the reason why I'm going to say that is that I'm not even going to take into the Olympics, because that Olympic when they played the Olympics, they more played up a defensive mind, and it was like, counter, score, goal. This team now is more attacking, and I think the advantage that this team going forward with Priestman now is that Priestman has more time. She's playing I think she's playing now 4-3-3. She's trying different things, but I think the main thing is that more of our women are now playing in Europe.
Yes,
and I know some might argue, well, North America better. But you've seen the progression of the women that are playing in Europe. Adrienne Leon, she has there was always an element to her. For me, I was always like, yes, she could grit, but I wanted to see some tactical stuff from her. And I've actually seen that improvement from her. The strikers, a lot of times we were relying on Heidema. We're now seeing what's her name, man? For her name to slip me. No, pardon?
It's Jordan.
No, Jordan Heidema is relying, was taking out the mantle, was taking over the mantle. But
the striker?
Yeah. Clarissa
Larissy?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Some of these players, yeah. You're seeing a lot of other Leon and the wings, you're seeing a difference. If you watch, I don't know if you guys were able to watch when they played the series against Brazil. Mm-hmm. And they hung with Brazil. Yes, Brazil's kind of is, I think, more of a name, but you actually saw the tactics that Priestman actually wants to bring forward. So I really like, we have Kadisha Buchanan.
Yeah,
I'll be honest,
100%.
Kadisha Buchanan, for me, hasn't played. I don't know. She's adjusted to Chelsea. She hasn't been doing as well, and she hasn't been starting a lot. Fleming has been doing a lot, has been playing more than her. And then you look at Grossman. So you're seeing these women now are coming out of their shell, and you're seeing a different element of the Canadian women. So I also agree with you, Chris, where the semifinals for me, I have a higher expectation now, because I'm seeing now where we're no longer playing this defensive game. We're now playing attacking, but we also have our defense is solid. Yeah, and they're maturing. You're seeing now they're more maturing.
It's unfortunate some of our women center backs can't play for the men.
Yeah, so it's going to be rather interesting, this World Cup. I'm actually excited.
Yeah.
To see this Women's World Cup.
I'm excited for the She Believes Cup too, man. We're playing Brazil, Japan, and the United States. That's 3 very good teams. And if we make the final of the She Believes Cup, there's no reason why we can't make the semifinal.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So we'll see, definitely.
Yeah. How about you, Juan? What is your expectations for the women's team heading into the World Cup?
Yeah, I think semis would be fair. I think that we're starting to see a lot of other countries starting to step up in terms of the women's development. So
with the women's leagues everywhere, but in Canada.
Well,
coming soon. 2025.
But honestly, I think now they realize that the golden generation is starting to slowly fade away. So I think there's a little bit of urgency now. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping for a final, to be honest. It'll be nice to see St. Clair raise that trophy up, and
for sure,
wide off on the sunset. So, again, like what Paul said, there's a lot of Canadians in Europe now, which is great. A lot of them will be well coached, well trained for this coming event, and I think our group will be okay. I think we'll go first. I think it'll be us, then Australia, and then Republic of No, I'll go with Nigeria, then Ireland. So if we get the first seed, then we'll do well.
Yeah. I just want to touch back on Andrew said Piet. I would, as in Piet would be like his last year with the men's national team. I would typically agree with you, except our depth at CDM, at defensive midfield, is
tough.
Not deep, especially if Atiba retires. So we may need to hold on, even though I don't think Piet is good enough at the elite level. Like, we may have to hold on to Piet for a couple of years. But moving on, is our next one, and one that I don't know if I'll answer just yet, is who is going to win the Canadian Championship? Is it going to be Vancouver? Is it going to be Montreal? Is it going to be Toronto FC? Is it going to be a Canadian Premier League? I'm going to come to you, Juan. You think so?
Yeah.
Come on, explain yourself. Explain yourself.
That
hot take. This is a hot take. A Canadian Premier League team winning the Canadian Championship. Who do you think it'll be?
I think if Forge stays the way they are and have a couple more decent signings, because they have their core, right?
Yeah.
Right.
TFC's being in that transition phase.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal's being in that transition phase. Vancouver, they're sort of being like that as well. I don't know.
Vancouver's always in a transition phase.
Yeah, they are.
Don't say that too loud.
All right, they can clip me up, Vancouver fans. Clip me up. You guys are always in transition, man.
But I think we've seen every year now that the CPL is going to continue to grow, and they're developing so well. I'm looking for either Forge or.
We know you want York United to win it.
I know, deep down inside my heart, yes. But it's going to be a long trip.
Juan, I agree with you. This was you kind of stole my thunder. I was actually not going to answer, and it was going to be my hot take at the end.
My apologies.
No, don't apologize. I think great minds think alike. I think for any year, I think this year it might be possible, especially right now with the two powerhouse Canadian MLS teams in Toronto and Montreal are both going through a transition. TFC is going to focus heavily on MLS because of the expectations put on them. So I can see, like, to try and ensure that they do as well in MLS as possible, they may heavily rotate for the Canadian Championship. With Montreal, who knows what's going to happen? And like I said, in Vancouver, at the best of times, they're a crapshoot anyway. So if a Canadian Premier League team is going to make a run, especially somebody like Forge, if they can keep their core together, which is something not a lot of Canadian Premier League teams have done in this offseason. A lot of them have made a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Except Forge, who haven't announced anything yet, as per usual.
Yeah.
Working in silence. But if they keep their core together, they can. They showed in the final for the 2020, which was played last year.
Oh yes, that's right.
Against TFC, like, they gave TFC a hard time. And yes, TFC was a rough season for TFC, but it showed you, like, on a Canadian Premier League team's best day, on an MLS team's worst day, the difference isn't that much, especially if it's a team like Forge.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, they gave Montreal a run for their money. And I think goalkeepers taking the penalties.
Yeah. And then look at Vancouver, man. They love losing to a Canadian Premier League team in the Canadian Championship anyways. I think last year was like the first year they've ever beaten one in the three, well, it would have been two tournaments. But yeah. How about you, Paul? Who's your favorite? It's hard, eh?
It's hard. So I think
so much in the air.
Yeah, because I was looking at the other teams and there's been a lot of transition. I thought Ottawa might have kept their players together, but there's a lot. I think maybe there's like 3 or 4 players that have left. Calgary FC, a few players have left as well. And you're right, Forge is the only one. So I'll be honest, out of all the teams, Forge is probably the only one I can more say confidently will win. Could win. Yes. The next in line, I'll probably say, and I mean, you know what? Montreal last year, we didn't expect Montreal to do this well. So maybe they might come back and surprise.
Maybe.
You never know. But my second guess would be TFC. Now I know, people might see this on YouTube and think it's Toronto bias, but I think Vancouver. I think Baldissimo is now traded to is it DC? No, he got traded either DC or no. It is crap. It just I saw it today.
Apologies. Which one? Which one?
Michael.
The one.
We got the younger ones, so
you
it's
got
gotta
the
be.
Yeah. So Michael got traded.
He got traded to San Jose.
Yeah, San Jose.
San Jose.
So, and I don't know what Vancouver. I mean, not sure if they're going to solidify or they're going to keep the same. Cavallini's gone too, right?
Yeah, Cavallini's gone. They got a couple DP spots open.
Open, which I haven't heard them do anything as yet. So I would say right now for me, probably Forge or TFC are the two teams that I could see either one winning. With Forge right now having the edge because of the core still being together.
Yeah.
And the good coaching. I think Bobby's a good coach, man.
Yeah, I think so too. Hopefully he can get an opportunity somewhere else at a higher level, whether it be in Europe or maybe even South America, who knows? Or in MLS, who knows? But
I think it's interesting because someone made a comment on Discord or because Pamadou Ka got that assistant role at Charlotte, and I don't think Bobby would ever take an assistant role.
No,
I think he would want to be the head guy. He would want to have his own development. He wants to bring in his own people, and I think that limits you to certain jobs.
I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up going back to Greece because obviously he has a lot of ties there. That's where he originally is from. But it's going to take somebody to take a. We think Bobby is a good coach, but for somebody in the Greek Super League, they're going to be like, we're just going to bring this Canadian dude in and he's going to be our coach. And he's been coaching in some league that just started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like they're going to think it's like some Mickey Mouse thing. Like we know this, even with like Alistair Johnston moving to Celtic. Congratulations. Oh, something I missed out. Congratulations to Alistair Johnston and Coney on making their debuts after their transfers. At a later point, we will review all the transfers in early February. I think we'll do that and how they're going. But even then, some Celtic fans were questioning Alistair Johnston, and he's made an instant impact. And I think he's already won the fans over. So we as Canadians know whenever somebody goes anywhere, there's always eyebrows raised. It's like, oh, is this going to work out?
Right.
But talking about some Canadian MLS sides, I'm going to get you guys to rank the Canadian MLS sides as in who's going to finish higher and also let me know who's going to be in the playoffs. I'm going to come to you first, Juan.
Wow. The thing is they just started doing training today and I just don't like when they don't have everything settled before they go camp, and it adds so much things in the air because it's so much wasted valuable time for those guys to
but it's a level playing field. That applies to all of the Canadian MLS.
That's what I mean. I'm like, which one? I think if I have to rank them, I'll go with TFC first because there's so much expectations for them. I think that they have to be a minimal playoff spot. Yeah. Because they're paying so much money to the Italian boys. Yeah. And I think that this is their golden window. And I think that if they fail to even be like top 4, I think people are going to start looking at Bill Manning. They're going to look at Bob Bradley, and it's going to just be car on fire.
If CFC does not make the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of people are going to be looking for new jobs. Let's just say that.
Yeah. For second, I'll have Vancouver. Okay. I think Vancouver is still a little bit more stable. Yes, they have a couple of players come and go, but that's just natural in terms of the off season. And then I'll have Montreal last in terms of ranking. I might have them 9th, 10th, not even like 11th in the division.
Okay, so they're outside the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, because they have a lot of good players coming in. They're bringing back players from the CPL. You got Sean Rea.
Victor Wanyama's coming back. Something I also forget to mention. I don't know if he's coming back as a DP though. They didn't make it very clear.
I think he's going to take the pay cut.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, again, there's just so many questions, and then like I said, Montreal's going to preseason. They have a new coach. Like, you have to start implementing your tactics to these players, and
they lost a lot of players.
Yeah,
and they could be losing more.
But there's not any more rumors about Miller.
No, but we got to remember, it's still early in January. We still got like another 20 days. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I don't know if I heard any teams specifically.
No, it was more like
it was like Belgian
murmurs.
Yeah,
right.
That was really it that I heard, was just like Belgium teams are interested.
Whatever
that means. And there was obviously the rumors that he would be going to what's the Serie A team Saputo owns, but I don't know if
Genoa,
but I don't know. But didn't Genoa get relegated?
Yes. I think they did get regulated. I can't speak.
Yeah, they did get relegated. So maybe he go to Serie B. I don't know.
No,
so you said, Juan, that TFC would make the playoffs, and Montreal maybe not so much. How about Vancouver? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
The West is looking pretty stacked right now.
Yeah.
It'll be tough for them. But I'm hoping for Canadian to be in there. Sure.
Okay.
Just go 8th.
Okay. How about you, Paul? What is your rank of the MLS sides, the Canadian MLS sides?
I think my ranking is kind of similar to Juan's, just because TFC, with the expectations, they have a bit more of a core, if you want to say. You have the two Italians, Marc-Anthony Kaye, still have Michael Bradley coming back.
Yeah.
So you have Jonathan Ozo. So I think with that core, there is a higher expectation of them definitely making the playoffs. And you're right. I don't think it's a matter of if. I think they have to make the playoffs.
They have to make the playoffs.
There's no.
God help the fan base if they don't.
Oh, the fan base on Twitter will explode. Twitter spaces will explode. Like, it will be. They need to start off strong. So having Insigne and Bernardeschi. My only issue is I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the weather starting off. So how that's gonna fare for both of them. Starting off so early, like the season just seems, anyways, that's a whole other topic with starting so early, but we'll see. I say TFC, Vancouver, because they are a bit more stable, and Montreal, just the unsurety. I didn't know Victor was coming back, but still the back line, Waterman is supposed to be gone, right?
No, Waterman
is he 100% gone yet?
No, he's not 100% gone. No, there were rumors to the second Bundesliga, I believe, as well as Belgium. Belgium seems to be where all the Canadian players seem to go first, and I'm not going to complain. I actually like that. Belgian league is a good development league, but there are a lot of rumors, but there wasn't anything solid.
Right. So I think what will probably hurt CF is if Joel does leave, because then it leaves Alistair and Joel, so that rebuild with Kamal there, and then you have midfield. We already know Kone's gone, so I think I could see them being last. I'm not even too sure. I think the only team that will make the playoffs is TFC right now, from the moves right now. I mean, anything could change. And I don't like how, the season starts too early, where there's still too, I don't know. To me, it just seems so weird. Like, you don't even know who you really have. And it's so late. Yeah, it's just an odd time to really start preseason.
Yeah, obviously, when just before the season, we'll do a bit of a season review.
Right.
And we'll be able to give more accurate predictions then. But I wanted to do something fun for the turn of the new year. I think TFC will be the best out of all the MLS Canadian teams, and I think they will be making the playoffs. I then have Montreal in second. I do not think they'll make the playoffs. Obviously, the players there know how to be successful because they were successful last season, but is there enough of them remaining? That's my question. And you coming in with a new coach that I have questions about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of changes. And then I have Vancouver in last, obviously not making the playoffs. And as I said earlier, Vancouver at the best of times is a gong show, and you never know what's going on there. A lot of barking and not a lot of biting coming out of the West Coast, in my opinion, especially from the fans. Clip me up, Vancouver fans, clip me up.
But Chris is going for all the smoke tonight, man.
It's all in fun, Vancouver.
That's the only fun they get is to come. They can come after me, but that's the only success they have. But yeah, I think only one team, Canadian team's going to make it. Unfortunately, it's in the playoffs for 2023. The next prediction we've got is the Canadian Premier League prediction. We're going to do a bit of a top four, and then who is going to be the eventual winner. I'll go first. So I have Forge finishing in first. I have Ottawa finishing in second. I have Pacific finishing in third. And then I had a real tough choice of the fourth pick. It was between Cavalry, Halifax, and York United. And to show some love to our resident York United fan, I went with York finishing in fourth.
Oh, beauty. That's all I want, man.
And then to win it, it seems impossible, but it seems like the obvious choice. And the winner's going to be Forge again, especially if they keep their team together. Like Pacific has had a lot of turnover. Ottawa has had a lot of turnover, and they were the only two teams, in my opinion, that can compete. I think Cavalry's in for a bit of a tough season, personally, and that's why I have them not even in the playoffs. But yeah, that's my top four: Forge, Ottawa, Pacific, and York, and then Forge winning the entire thing. How about you, Paul?
I have Forge, Pacific. Ottawa, I'm still up in the air. I mean, I want to have them in the top four, but I'm not too sure what.
I know it's a new team. They only one season under their belt. A lot of turnover. Yeah,
they have a lot of turnover. I think there's like 4 players. I think it's like 4 players. So that for me, I'm like
key players too. Key players.
Right. So I'm like, is it York United that now comes to the top 4? Because they're, to me, and Juan, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think they are a bit more stable. I haven't heard of a lot of moves.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon, Jordan. Too soon.
York's not doing too bad right now with the signings.
Right. Yeah. So
a couple guys.
Yeah. So for me, and you know what? I'm going to throw a random. I'm going to throw Halifax in because I haven't heard of too many moves, and they seem stable. And they from last year, as much as where they placed 7th, I could see that they're building. And sometimes you gotta. It might not happen right away. So I think this year could be a breakout year where they surprise people.
Yeah. How about you, Juan? What are you saying?
I think we're gonna have a different kind of year for the CPL. I think I'll go with the obvious one. I think Forge will be first.
Oh yeah,
they've just been so dominant. I'll go with second for Ottawa. I think that yes, it's come and go, but they have like all these sister clubs to help bring in players that are familiar with the system. Like they'll have a couple loanees from Atletico Madrid. We'll have a couple players from the Mexican League. So I think they'll be okay for next year. This is where I come with my hot take. I think it'll be York third. I think we've done some decent signings in the off season. We brought in a lot of midfield stability. We brought in a couple players that are young as well. I really like the signs we have. And for the 4th spot, I'm either stuck between Halifax or this is gonna sound so ridiculous, but I really, really like what they have at Vancouver FC with their head coach.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think we did.
Like, if they bring in the right players, like that coach has some good experience abroad. Yeah. So he might be able to make a huge impact and get the playoff spot and knock Calgary out.
Yeah.
I really like what they're doing at Halifax as well. I know it's a big risk bringing a League One Ontario coach to CPL, especially to Halifax. I think they lost patience about not being in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But this is not like any other coach. I mean, this guy's
they're bringing in the best.
Yeah, this guy's been undefeated in 2 years, right? This guy knows how to win. So I think he'll be able to find his way in the CPL. So I'm either stuck between Halifax or Vancouver FC for that fourth spot.
Okay. And who do you have winning the whole thing? Unless I missed it.
No, I didn't say it yet. Okay. My head says Forge.
I know it's ridiculous to say them.
But
4 and 5. I know, but it's like they got that aura about them now. It's like man. Yeah, man. I'm a Forge fan too, and I don't know, like it's becoming like the German Bundesliga almost, like
right,
like,
like, and I don't want that.
No, I don't want it either. It's
only 8 teams in the league.
I know, like it needs to be more competitive. Somebody else needs to win it this year.
I'm gonna go for a homer. I'm gonna go for a homer. I'm gonna pick York. Why not?
Oh. Okay.
No analytics or just stats, just vibes.
We'll have a QEW final between Forge and York. That'll be interesting.
Spark up the rivalry.
Yeah, spark up the rivalry, man.
And then I'm gonna bring up that old article from today.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bring it. Print it out and bring it to the stadium, and I'll eat my popcorn.
Oh man.
Okay. So our next prediction, as we come towards the end, it's been a bit of a long episode, but we didn't do an episode in 3 weeks, and so we had a lot to chit chat about.
Mm-hmm.
Is who do we think will be the Canadian men's national team and the Canadian women's national team players of the year? I'll go first here again, just because I want to go on a short rant, and I don't like. I can see Jesse Fleming and Alphonso Davies winning it again, just because it seems like the CSA is just going with the biggest name that plays for the biggest club. Like, if we're being honest, did Alphonso Davies deserve it? Yes, he had a great year with Canada. Yes, he scored a goal in the World Cup, but he was injured for like half the year, not playing for club or country. Like, I don't know. I think the unanimous decision on Twitter was Stephen Eustáquio. I know some, and I agree with that 100%. Stephen Eustáquio deserved it. I know some people were saying, well, Stephen Eustáquio didn't play for Porto at the beginning of the year, but he played for the Canadian men's national team and was an important part of us qualifying for the World Cup.
Absolutely.
So, and that's unfortunately, Alphonso Davies wasn't available for us for that. So, going off what happened this past year, I can see them winning it again, just because they're the biggest names playing for the biggest clubs. How about you, Juan? What are you saying?
I agree. Like, just off name, probably Davis and Fleming will win. Yeah. But I think Eustáquio is the most deserving. He's been the glue guy for our national team, and moving up to Porto is not that easy in the Portuguese league. So you got to give credit where credit's due. I think that guy definitely deserves to be Player of the Year, and I think it's not on previous performances. It has to be just this year and this year alone. And I think Eustáquio rised up the highest. Yeah.
How about you, Paul? Do you see any shocks next year? Well, at the end of this year, when the announcement is made, or are you expecting the same old, same old?
Well, the same old, same old. I think there needs to be more noise, and I say noise in regards to that, because the big names. It was just ridiculous when I saw it. I was like, Are you guys really serious?
Yeah, so I was shocked. Like, I understood Alphonso Davies making the top 3 because he is important. Right. But it's like, to me, it was a slam dunk. It was Eustáquio. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
and we have to be. When I say we, I think the association has to be very mindful of that because, as much as they say the brotherhood, you're human too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're thinking, okay, yeah, what did Davies? Yeah, he was in and out of buy-in for the year. He was in and out of the Canadian team. Yeah, he scored the goal, but like, okay, yeah, that's great. But what about you saw the significant impact when Stefan was out when he came out of the Croatia game injured, and then when he didn't play in Morocco. Like, and I've always said, people always say Alphonso Davies is the best player, and I could say arguably, but the most important player and the player that has done significant is Stefan Eustáquio. Right? There's no if, ands, or but about it. And I get it, the big name, contract, endorsements, all that. And I think, we just have to be mindful. So for me, I think I could see Stefan winning it, just because he got snubbed last year. From the women's end, I think it's going to be, once again, it's Fleming because she's more. I think they need to do more in-depth analysis and not just use the big name and not be like, oh yeah, she plays for Chelsea. Because Sweden Cup, like there's a lot of women that are playing Sweden that are doing well, even in Sweden. There's a lot, even in the
Evelyn Viens is scoring plenty of goals in Sweden, but she also needs more opportunities with the women's team too.
Oh, don't get me started on that because that was an issue. Yeah, that was an issue. I was talking to Afrikaans about. We were talking about that because that was another issue where it pre-Smith. A lot of times you notice with her, and I get it, I understand. A lot of women that have come up into the program, they're more pick from the youth onward that Priestman actually knows. So pick instead of looking in Europe and seeing who's actually playing the best right now, right? And so for me, I hope it's somebody else other than Fleming. If she gets it, I could understand. I mean, I'm not saying she's made an impact, but it hasn't been that significant in comparison. Like Grosso has been, she's been doing well in the Italian league, right? And she's been making impact. So I think they need to look outside of the box, and hopefully, I personally think Stefan should get it. I wouldn't be surprised even Coney's getting a significant opportunity to be this player on the rise. He's getting the playing time with Watford because their midfield is disseminated right now. So don't be surprised if he also becomes a player of the year, the way he's his ascension on the football
Jonathan
stage.
David too. If he's in the name for top goal scorer in Ligue 1 and then transfers and makes an impact to a big club, he's also somebody who should be deserving a shout. But with the women and the men, I think we all agree. We just want look into it more. Go deeper. Don't just go, who's the big name? You win the award. Like, don't just keep the sponsors happy. Like, give the award to the most deserving athlete. That's all we ask for. And to me, the Jesse Fleming one, I get it.
Right.
The Alphonso Davies one to me was like, I have no idea what's going on.
Agree. Totally agree.
And then we've come to our final hot take, and that is just one. Well, our final prediction, I should say, and that is our Canadian soccer hot take for 2023. I'll come to you first, Juan. Do you have any hot take you want to just get off your chest?
I'm really hoping one of the CPL players become a really depth role player for Canada during the World Gold Cup.
Okay.
At least get one spot. If we can get someone that's in form, in the middle of the summer, and John Herman, I know John Herman's really appreciate the top 5 European, but I can picture a lot of guys that are not interested, a lot of guys that might be in and out in the MLS. So he might have a young gun in the CPL that's scoring a lot of goals. Maybe his last name starts with Bozario. And maybe someone will get an opportunity. So there's my hot take.
Okay, I was going to go last, but I'm going to slide in here real quick here, Juan. I'm sorry, Paul, but my hot take is Osaze Di Rosario to be the top goal scorer and MVP in the Canadian Premier League this season.
My boy.
There's just something about him. He's just different gravy. And I agree with Juan 100%, especially as we discussed a little bit earlier. Some of our strikers are in need of a move. If Ugbo moves and Laren moves and David moves to new clubs in Europe, are they going to be available for the Gold Cup? Who else are we going to call up? If we're going like MLS right now, there's no one. Maybe Cavallini, who may be playing in MLS, maybe playing in Mexico.
Might play in Uruguay.
Might play in Uruguay. But besides that, they aren't like maybe Akinola. But like, we know Akinola's had his struggles. But like, if we're looking for a young player to bring up, Osaze Di Rosario, if anybody is going to be called up from the Canadian Premier League, I think he should be the one. Just because I think there's something about him. There's just something about him. But like I said, my hot take is he's going to be the MVP and top goal scorer in the Canadian Premier League. So, Paul, do you have anything you need to confess? Get off your chest.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but I'm gonna say that Justin Smith gets a call up on the Canadian national.
Good shout. Good shout.
Yeah, that's my hot take. I don't think earlier, but I think later on in the year he'll get a call up.
Yeah. It's unfortunate his loan move has gone the way it has, because Nice really rated him. Like Nice, I know he never made his debut for the first team, but he was in a number of match day squads, which shows that they have faith in him, that they were willing to bring him on if there was an injury or the situation required it.
I like how he plays, man. He plays.
Yeah, Andrew agrees with you, Paul, and I agree. He plays a position of need. Well, I think he's going to be a defensive midfielder, but if he does become a center back, that's still a position of need.
He plays I like how he plays. Like, he just seems so calm.
Yeah.
And his profile is also that tall. He's a bit that Atiba, but a bigger.
Yeah.
So he just needs that. I agree. Thanks, Andrew. I think he just needs that playing time. More playing
I'm hoping
time.
The second part of his loan, he can get some more game time.
Right. Yeah.
He played in a friendly against PSG for the club he's on loan with, and he looked okay. He came off the bench, but I think we all, like everybody who watched the under-20s, it was.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
he looks
so much better than everybody else, including the Canadian. 1,000% agree. Even he looked so much better than the Canadian Premier League players. Like looking at that, at that time I was thinking if he came to the Canadian Premier League, he could be like one of the best DMs in the league. Look, comparing like how his performance to like Lowell Wrights, for example. Like, I don't know, there's just something about him too. Like, we need him. We need him to develop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've done this for about an hour and a half. Oh no, nearly 2 hours. My bad. Wow, a bit of a long one tonight.
Thanks, guys, for staying with us. The audience,
staying with us for 2 hours. We had a lot to catch up, going from last year to this year, and not doing one for 3 weeks. But going forward, we should be doing it regularly every Sunday at 6 p.m. And then obviously, as we get closer to the MLS season and the Canadian Premier League season starting, maybe we'll make some changes to bring in some new content for you guys specific to those things. But all will be revealed closer to the time. But before we head out, Juan wanted to tell us a little bit of the project he's working on.
Yeah, so I've got my custom PC here. I'm trying to implement the CPL into FIFA 23. It's been taking me a long time to do it. I've been putting in the brand names in there. I've been trying to put the players in there, and I'm trying to make it work for a career mode. I think it'll be great advertisement for the league itself, and I think it'll be good for young people to join. I've done something similar for the club I coach. I've put the club badge in there. I put I put some of the kids in there just to be like, okay, give me your favorite players and like what position you want to play, right? And I just give them stats so they have something to look forward to, and they really enjoyed it. So it'll take a long time for us to get there, but I should be done in the next couple of days.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and then you were gonna do maybe a bit of a career mode with one of them and implement them into MLS, and that'll be exciting.
So each individual team I'll try to do.
Okay, so make sure you follow Juan both on Twitch and Twitter, and follow Paul on Twitter. Their links are in the description below. Thank you very much to Juan and Paul for joining me this evening. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. I don't know if I could talk by myself for an hour, 45 minutes, to be honest. But when it comes to football conversations with other people, I can go on all night, as is very clear. I want to thank all the listeners as well, and everybody who got involved in the comment section tonight. It's been our most active comment section so far. So hopefully a sign of things to come. We really do appreciate it. It adds to the conversation. A reminder to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button and give your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I have been your host, Chris, and we're signing out.
Peace.